It's practice time here at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, as we head out for the Spanish Grand Prix. Soon enough, the teams will be heading onto the track for what will no doubt be a really interesting day of practice. Beside me to take you through free practice today is a man with 3 decades of racing experience under his belt. It is, of course, Anthony Davidson. Thanks for joining us today, Anton. Tell me, where should we be focusing our attention today?
I think we need to be looking across the entire field to see how far these cars are able to push a single set of tyres. While everyone will be trying different setups and running with different fuel loads, if you're attentive enough, you can definitely pick out trends for each type of tyre compound, which will give us a rough idea of how long the drivers are able to stay out there during a stint in the race.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video here today. We're back once again on F1 2019, back for career mode. Here today for the Spanish Grand Prix. Now, a couple of things that I want to clarify. For practice and qualifying, I was actually on my new wheel, mainly because I had a F2 league race about 24 hours after I recorded this, and I really just wanted to, kind of make sure I had a rough idea of where I wanted the settings and stuff to be. Now, probably sounds a bit stupid, I know, but I really did just want to try and see how it felt in this car as well. Not gonna lie, I didn't mind the feel of it all too much. Wheels definitely a lot different to a controller, I'm not gonna lie. But well, look at that. I mean, there's your proof, just straight into the wall. But by the end of practice one, we ended up 4th fastest. Not too bad. Half a second off our teammate Sergio Perez, who was on a harder tyre as well, so that's a little bit worrying going forward. But as I said, practice and qualifying, I was on the wheel. Then I actually had to go out, so I kind of left it at that and kind of forgot about it for a while, to be honest. And then when I just turned it on the other day, I realised that I actually hadn't done the race. I'd completely forgotten. So anyway, but I am back on the controller for now, just to try and, well, not to change and swap things up, all too much. I'm probably not even making sense right now, am I? I'm just blurting out gibberish, but anyway. But you know what? We're on the wheel for quali and on the controller for the race. Simple as that. So I'm not going to say any more on that front because I'm just going to confuse everybody and myself. So let's go to qualifying for the Spanish Grand Prix and see how we go.
Join us today at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya for what's bound to be a really hectic qualifying as the teams compete to set the best lap times. Watching some of the cars attack the high-speed corners, it occurred to me that this might be one of the more awkward tracks to prepare a car for. Do you go for top speed over grip, or do you look to maximise performance in all the corners?
Drivers are going to need a nicely balanced car to be fast here. They'll need to get the most out of the medium and high-speed corners, which will push them to run more downforce. But in turn, this slows the car down on the straights. It's a tricky balancing act.
Alright, so here we are in the garage for qualifying for the Spanish Grand Prix. Now, as I said, on the wheel for qualifying. Keep in mind, I did record this about a week ago, so this is not like, this hasn't been recorded like 10 hours ago or something. This was quite a while ago now, so my memory might be a little bit off as to what happens. I can't quite remember, to be honest, but hopefully it'll all come back as we get further into this video. But Q1, first lap wasn't great. We only sit in P18. Coming out again at the end of the session, we're going to improve down to a low 17, P14 provisionally. I was hoping that was going to be enough to get us through. Perez tops Q1 on a 1:15.4. That is mental pace from the AI, but as you can see, we have not made it through to Q2, P18, only ahead of Lance Stroll and Robert Kubica, so that's not great. But anyway, like I said, I was really just fine-tuning settings and stuff for league race I had a few hours later, so you know I was kind of a little bit more worried about that at this point in time. But as I said, I'm on the controller for the race, and not quite a last to question mark challenge because we're not quite last. We're close enough, but anyway, P18. So, not ideal, but let's see what we can make of a bad situation, and let's get into the race and see how we do.
So, unfortunately, we've picked up some grid penalties, and we'll be starting further back than you expect. As for how bad it is, that'll depend on what the other drivers get.
Good afternoon from a very familiar setting. It's race day here in Spain, and with everything still to play for in the championship battle, there's no room for mistakes in a Grand Prix that's well known for creating them. The Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya, a track that will certainly force the drivers to push themselves. It consists of a very impressive main straight going into turn 1. It's a straight that also offers a DRS zone, so it's likely to be a hot spot for overtakes. Anthony Davison is here with me today, and together we'll be taking you through all the action at the Spanish Grand Prix. It can be hard for the cars to follow each other closely here due to all the dirty air coming off the car in front. So perhaps we're looking at a more strategic Grand Prix. What do you think on that one, Ant?
I'm not too sure about that, Crofty. Yes, it's hard to follow, but if you're brave on the brakes and willing to commit, there are definitely opportunities to be had here, like down into turn 10 after the DRS zone, for example. I don't think this is a race that's going to be decided purely in the pit stops.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Sergio Perez will lead us away from pole position, and starting alongside him P2 is Sebastian Vettel. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton and Verstappen, Weber, Norris, Ricciardo and Pierre Gasly, Giovinazzi, Kvyat, Kimi Raikkonen and Grosjean, Butler, Russell, Lance Stroll and Robert Kubica. Lee and Kevin Magnussen fills the last spot on the grid. Now it's almost time to lights out, so let's go down to the track.
Okay, not where we wanted you to be, so we'll need you to push hard in the race.
Alright, thanks boss, I'll try and do that, but welcome guys to the grid of the Spanish Grand Prix. A couple of grid penalties implemented, so we are on the back row, but we're not last. That belongs to Kevin Magnussen, so might have to watch out for him. Can be a bit of a weapon sometimes, known for that in real life. But anyway, main aim for me, just to get inside the top 10 and score some more points. I feel like the car definitely has the outright pace to be in the top 5, but being this far back, I don't know if we're going to be able to make up all that ground. This car obviously is an absolute rocket. It's very nice to drive, but even to quote Fernando Alonso, even with a rocket ship, I don't think we'll be able to get it done. So anyway, we'll try and do what we can like we always do, but starting from P19 to get up anywhere near the top 5, I think that's going to be a real big stretch, but you never know, some luck might fall our way. And we'll see what happens. But anyway, back on the grid now. I think we're all good to go. Are we just waiting? Here we go. Alright. Waiting for 5 red lights for the Spanish Grand Prix. And away we go. Held the lights for a while there, to be honest. But anyway, away we go. Starting on the medium tyres as well. Just like a lot of people around us. Not a great launch, to be honest. Kevin Magnussen draws alongside us. We're going to try and make some moves down into turn 1. Kubica with a big boy send up the inside of his teammate and the McLaren of Devon Butler. So he's up into 17th. We're trying to go around the outside of Lance Stroll. You can see the red proximity arrow with Kevin Magnussen there as well. So the Haas driver trying to make something happen. We're going to now try to go around the outside of Robert Kubica in this right-hander. He squeezes off a little bit and he's forced us off into the gravel. Well, okay, that's a bit different. Kubica not giving two craps about whether anyone is alongside him, so might have to watch out for him when we get back to him. But cutting onto lap 2, down into turn 1, make the move on Kevin Magnussen, round the outside, slide a bit of tyre to tyre contact there. They couldn't get the sentence out, but anyway. But we get the job done and starting to make progress. Going on to the back straight now. We're going to send it up the inside of Lance Stroll. That was kind of a late move, to be honest. I wasn't really expecting to go for that, but we were just so much later on the brakes. But anyway, we get the move done. Coming on to lap 4. Now we're going to try and make the move on Robert Kubica, the man who forced us off at the start. Down into turn 1, hard on the brakes, and the Williams is just, he just can't fight us. The Williams, it's still one of the worst cars, if not the worst car on the grid, and they just can't fight us. So up to P17. You make that P16 as we cut on to the start of lap 5 as we dispatch of Romain Grosjean quite easily. DRS slipstream on George Russell, and now we're going to go round the outside of the Brit into turn 1, then to the inside for turn 2, outside now for turn 3, but we should get this done, and we do. Up to 15th now, so we've carved through the quote back markers, I guess you could say. So now it's time to try and work our way through the midfield. First up, our old mate Devon Butler. Just for the record, not really a mate, absolute prick of a thing, but anyway. We'll try and make the move on the McLaren as soon as we can. Quite a big train here forming as well, which leads basically to about 9th or 10th, and I think it's headed by one of the Mercedes. I think it's Valtteri Bottas, so that's quite interesting to see the Mercedes struggling as much as it is, lingering back here, almost outside of the top 10. But here we go, make the move on Devon Butler, around the outside into turn 1, extremely late on the brakes, and Devon just nothing to fight with there, has to concede. That's up to P14 for us. Next up, the Iceman, Kimi Räikkönen. We'll try and make the move on him if we can. Lewis Hamilton is out of the race as well. We'll make the move on Räikkönen. It's all kicking off around the outside of the Alpha. He leaves us a bit more room than what Kubica did, thankfully, as we've almost run into the back of Giovinazzi there as well. So 500 things happening at once. So let's just go check out what happened to Lewis Hamilton. I think he was running in 3rd or 4th at the point when this happened. No smoke, so maybe a gearbox failure or something. But the Red Bull pulls off, and Hamilton's day is done here in Spain. So a bit unfortunate. Cutting back onto our POV, Giovinazzi with a savage lunge on Bottas in one of the most unconventional places on track to try and make an overtake. So now we're going to try to go around the outside of them all at the end of the back straight, and I think we've actually got that done, and we have, up to P10. So we started the lap scrapping for P14, and by the back straight we're up to 10th. So pretty hectic first 2 sectors there. Let's just jump on board with Devon Butler and have a look at this. Gio locked up our inside, 3 wide behind us here with Butler, Bottas and Räikkönen, trying to find a decent camera view to use here. And man, what an absolutely hectic couple of corners that was. But we get the job done, up into P10, Giovinazzi P11, team radio.
Gap to teammate ahead is 20.3 seconds. They're on old mediums. They're in first. The time last lap was a 1 minute 20.0.
Alright, so just checking up on Perez, leading the race 20 seconds up the road from us. So we're definitely not going to be challenging him, or we're not going to be challenging for the podium. You can see him on the mini-map there, Perez with the 2 Ferraris. The one sole remaining Red Bull dropped off a little bit, but can't worry about that too much as we cut back to our POV. Now we're trying to pass Danny Kvyat in a really awkward spot here. He got held up by, I think that was Pierre Gasly, and now this has all become a bit messy here. And this has allowed Gasly to break away a bit as well. Giovinazzi is now right under our rear wing as well, so we might have to watch for a lunge into turn 1 from the Mercedes. We're going to have to be late on the brakes, and I think we should be okay, and we are. So Kvyat battling for P8 ends up down to P11. So that's not quite what he would have been hoping for, but for us, we're making good gains at the moment. Coming up to lap 13, we've caught up to the back of the Toro Rosso, and at this point I decided to take myself out of the fight with the AI, try and give myself a bit of clear track. I knew the AI would probably stay out for an extra lap or 2, depending. So I felt like I might be able to jump Gasly. So we'll see what we can do. Quick stop from the boys, in and out. Mediums go off and hards go on. excuse me. Out of the pits now, in P19, last, if you just want to put it bluntly. Hamilton, the only retirement for the moment, he will be ruining that failure. Still not really sure what that was, could have been a gearbox engine failure, but either way, Lewis Hamilton, his championship hopes have already taken a severe hit, and we're only 5 races in to season 2, so that's not what he would be hoping for, but anyway. We've got a fair bit of clear track to play with at the moment. Lance Stroll, the man we replaced in this car at the start of career mode, was about 9 seconds up the road, cut on to the start of lap 15. And here's Gasly. This is going to be close. As we come into turn 1, he just maintains what is effective P8, I think. But he's on cold hard tyres. Ours are warmed up, so we're going to try and make the most of this while the opportunity is there in the slipstream. Are we going to try and go around the outside? Yes, we are. Just not quite able to make it work. Gasly colours it off nicely. Bottas behind us as well, but he's nearly 5 seconds back, so we don't really have to worry about him. So all eyes on Gasly at the moment, trying to get this move done. We cut onto the front straight on the next lap. Rich fuel mixture overtake DRS, and we just blow past the Toro Rosso like he's sitting still. But now we're back to square one again, because here's Giovinazzi, who has jumped all of us. He was behind us, if I'm not mistaken, and he was behind us by a fair margin as well when we come in. So Antonio has performed the overcut there very well. Probably didn't help that me and Gasly were battling last lap, but man, Giovinazzi has really pulled one out of his backside there. He gets up to P8 provisionally, but cutting onto lap 17, DRS, and we just completely blow past. But look at the mini-map there. There is a red dot, presumably a Ferrari, slowing down. One of the Ferraris has a problem, it looks like. I'm not too sure who that is. I think it's Sebastian Vettel. We'll cut on and have a look on the replay, and Sebastian Vettel, smoke pouring out of the back of that bright red Ferrari. That looks like a straight up engine failure, engine explosion if anything right there. Smoke just poured out of the back of that Ferrari. And now we have a safety car.
Keep your delta number positive as we form up.
Alright, so now this changes the game completely. 16 laps to go and we have a safety car. So what I'm going to do now, something a little bit different and something that may not work. This is definitely a gamble, but I'm going to come in for a set of medium tyres. Now, the reason I decided to do this was I know the AI had taken theirs 15 laps under normal green flag conditions, but with a safety car, that should take us to about lap 19 or lap 20. So effectively 13 racing laps on the mediums, which is exactly what we did in the first stint, and the tyres felt like they had plenty of life left at the end of my first stint, so I definitely felt like I could make this work and potentially sneak a top 5. But the only problem now is we're last again, so this might not work. So we're going to have to make some moves as quickly as we can here. Coming up to the end of lap 19, the field has bunched up, the safety car has come in, and now we're going racing again. Green flag, here we go. First up, George Russell. Hopefully we can get this done down into turn 1. Rich fuel mixture, overtake, slipstream on the Williams. We're going to try and get this done. Which way do we go? Inside out. We're going to go to the outside now. Down into turn 1. Almost contact between the pair of us. Real nice racing there. But we're getting the move done. And that's one position already gained up to P17. Next up, Lance Stroll. Wouldn't expect any favours from the Canadian, considering we replaced him at the start of this career mode. We're going to go for a big send from out of nowhere there. Probably a bit 50-50 that move, to be honest. But at that point, I needed to get that done. I'd been held up for about half a lap, and I just couldn't afford for that to happen. Coming onto the start of lap 21, slipstream overtake, rich fuel mixture on Robert Kubica. Should get the move done on the Polish driver. Down into turn 1, job done. Up into P15 now. You can see a big queue of cars just up the road there, so we are still definitely in the ballpark for getting points here. How many still remains to be seen. Cutting up to the start of lap 22, and isn't this reminiscent of the real Spanish Grand Prix? The two Haas drivers going at it. Kevin Magnussen, Romain Grosjean side by side now, all the way up through the first sector. We're going to try and make a move on these two if we can. Up the inside into this right-hander, so close between myself and Grosjean. I think we've actually got this move done, and we have. Two-car overtake in a really, well, in a place where you really normally don't overtake, so real nice move there. I am proud of that one, but getting on to lap 23, we've caught up to the back of this group, which runs into the top 10. Kimi Räikkönen first up, and oh god, okay, move done. I wasn't planning to go for a move there, to be honest. I just locked the rears and kind of had to go for it. Almost running into the back of Devon Butler now. So the AI, for whatever reason, I'm not that strong on the brakes, it seems. Just checking the MFD there to make sure we didn't have any damage. I felt like we did tap Butler ever so slightly, but we've got away with it. Apparently no damage, and we continue onwards. Going onto the back straight on lap 24. We're going to try and get the move done here in the braking zone on Devon Butler. We go for a savage lunge up the inside. We've gone deep, but I think we've actually got it done, and we have. Oh my god, what a move. We just sent it up the inside of our old rival. He left us the space, and we get it done on lap 27 up the inside of Bottas at the same place. Now that move was definitely a bit 50-50 there, but we really did have to go for it because we were so even on straight line speed. It was all going to be about trying to lunge him, and that was really the best I could do, to be honest. But coming into lap 28, really outside of Danny Kvyat in turn 1. That's up to P9, so we are now up into the points, almost back to where we were before the safety car came out, actually. So this gamble might not actually yield anything at all. But front straight, lap 29. Job done on Gasly. Daniel Ricciardo next up. He locks up into turn 1. We almost collect the Aussie there. We almost T-boned the rear of the Renault. Luckily, we just avoided those two going side by side now behind us, as you can see on the mini-map there. Let's jump on board and have a look with the Aussie. Just locks up front tyres into turn 1 and basically just gives us P7. And as you can see now, him and Gasly once again going side by side with Kvyat right behind, waiting to pounce as well. So that leaves us in a pretty lonely P7 for the moment. So now it's time to put the hammer down. Fastest lap of the race, 19 flat. So definitely got the hammer down at the moment. Cutting onto the start of lap 32. Antonio Giovinazzi, this is for P6. Round the outside into turn 1. He's still there. We have to leave the space, but we should get the job done, and we do. So up into P6, and as you can see, P5, Lando Norris, and I think it's Lucas Weber, P4 right there. So we could potentially steal P4 here, right at the death of this Spanish Grand Prix, and what a drive that would be from 19th on the grid. I'll take P6 either way, but there's more positions right in front of us for the taking, and by God, we're going to try and take them. DRS overtake, rich fuel mixture on Lando Norris. We're going to try to send up the inside here on the back straight. No contact made between the pair of us. We get the move done, but unfortunately that has allowed Lucas Weber to just edge away a little bit. Sergio Perez wins the race and gets the fastest lap back off us right at the end as well. No idea how he's done that on hard tyres, but on dead hard tyres, more to the point. But anyway, around the final corner, Perez wins the Spanish Grand Prix, but for us, P19 to P5, I am very pleased with that result.
That was brilliant stuff from Racing Point today. What a superb victory. What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
It was a question of right place, right time today. We were looking at an entirely different race before the safety car came out, but they were able to take full advantage after the field had been bunched up.
Racing Point's performance today has shown that they can be competitive with the veterans of the sport. They're making their way out to the podium now as we speak, and the reaction from the crowd must be incredibly uplifting for them.
Alright, so there we go guys, that has been today's video. Career mode for the Spanish Grand Prix, 19th up to 5th, 14 positions gained. I will definitely take that. To only finish 17 seconds off Perez as well. I think that was a pretty good race. Obviously the safety car definitely aided us a bit there. But you know what, you got to take advantage of every opportunity that arises. And I feel like we definitely did that. Drivers' standings, we jump up to P4 after Vettel and Hamilton both DNF today's race. Leclerc and Perez still 1-2. So all in all, been a pretty good weekend.
Great work out there today. Let's have your thoughts.
You gained a lot of positions during the race, didn't you?
Yeah, 14 spots gained. Well, car was just handling nice and made my job a lot easier.
Some excellent overtaking moves from your former teammate today. Did he learn some of them from you?
He might have. Depends if he was paying close enough attention. But always nice to think that he has.
You've had experience with Devon's fast, aggressive style. Any advice for the drivers he passed today?
I'd like to just say go faster, to be honest.
You and Lucas weren't far apart by the finish. Do you enjoy racing against him?
Yeah, I do enjoy racing Lucas, and my personal opinion, I think the feeling's mutual.
Appreciate your time.
Alright, thank you very much, Claire. So there we go, guys. Spanish Grand Prix done and dusted. Next up, Monaco, the crown jewel in the Formula 1 calendar. I will be putting in a bit of practice for that, not going to lie. I really would like to win Monaco, and it'd be good just to get a leg up on Perez as well, and try and kickstart some momentum to reel him in the championship as well. So we'll see what happens.
That's very disappointing. I know you can do better than that. Take stock of what went wrong so you can get a better result next time. Looks like one of your rivals is also going to an upcoming historical event. If you choose to take him on, it might help get your name out there a bit.
Alright, so despite the fact that we went from 19th up to 5th, Emma is none too impressed with us. So that's a little bit odd, but anyway. So that's been today's video, guys. Hope you all have enjoyed, and looking at the upgrade side of things now, I think I'm probably going to go for a tyre wear upgrade for Monaco. Might help keep the temps in check a little bit as well. Time will tell on that note. And well, first things first, we actually got to make sure it even goes on the car. So hopefully it goes on, and we can build on that from there. But as I said, thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed, remember to leave a like, subscribe, stay tuned for plenty more. And until the next one, I'll see you all next time. Have a good one.